Hi, this is Ali Arango of LittleGuyCGI.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a suit of powered armor inside of Blender 2.74. So let's get started. Okay, if this is your first time in Blender, I recommend you go to File, User Preferences, and then go to Input, and then choose Select with left click. Blender's default select is with right click, and this may confuse you if you're coming from Adobe or other 3D programs. Also, while you're in the user preferences, if you click on add-ons and just scroll down, I'm going to put a check mark next to, you'll put your check marks right here, but Mesh F2, Mesh Inset, Mesh Loop Tools, and Mesh Relax. And this will just make it so you'll be able to follow right along with this tutorial. Okay, just to go over the basics very quickly, in Blender, you can manipulate your view by holding the middle mouse button. If you press 1, 3, or 7 on your number mouse pad, you can rotate your view. Most of my other older tutorials, that's how I would tell people to get around. Now, if you look here, you can see there's a navigation button. And just by clicking front, back, left, right, all the different, top, bottom, you can get around. And I find that this is very easy to manipulate the view. And more I've been using the navigate tab to manipulate my view rather than the number pad keys. Okay, when you come into Blender, normally you come in, you're in object mode. We're going to spend most of our time in edit mode. To get to edit mode, you're just going to click here and go right to edit mode. Okay, in edit mode, the main way that you manipulate your object is by vertices, which you can select here, edges, which you can select here, or faces. Okay, the first thing we're going to do in making this powered armor suit is we're going to press W to bring up our specials menu. We're then going to go to Subdivide Smooth. And then when you do Subdivide Smooth, if you look to your left, you'll see a menu that pops up that says Subdivide. Right underneath it says number of cuts. You're going to take this number of cuts up to 3. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to press front just to make sure we are in front view. See this bottom right here? We want to flatten this out. So we're going to press A to deselect everything. We're going to hold the middle mouse button to turn our view. Then we're going to press C for paint select. Oh, we want to make sure we're on faces. Now I'm going to press C for paint select again. I'm going to right click to get out of paint select. I'm going to select here to go back to front view. Then I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis 0. And then when I left click to lock in. Now that S to scale on the Z axis 0 is very good for flattening things out. So that's what we, just used it for right there. Okay, with that flattened area selected, what we're going to do is press E to extrude. And you can see that purplish bluish line is showing us where we're going to extrude to. So we're just going to pull straight down just slightly. I'm going to left click to lock in. You're going to press S to scale. I'm going to scale this out about like that. Then left click to lock in. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to press E to extrude on the Z axis. Again, I see that there's the blue purple line showing us where we're going to go. If you don't see that, you just press Z and it'll pop up. You're going to take it down about like this. Left click to lock in. Okay, with this bottom flat part still selected, we're going to press S to scale in just a little bit. And before we get too much further in, we're going to press A to deselect there. What we're going to do is we're going to make it easier for us to work by getting rid of this part of the model and then putting a mirror modifier on it. So normally if we select it, click just here, we would select just the front. We want to select this entire half. So to do that, what we're going to do is press Z, and then we're going to go to wireframe. What this allows us to do is this allows us to select the front and the back part of this mesh. So with face select on and with wireframe on, you're going to bring your mouse up to about this area. You're going to press B so you can do a box select over this whole half of this this mesh right here. You're then going to press X to bring up your delete menu, and you're going to choose faces. Okay, and one of the cool things about 3D is the fact that 3D helps everything to look, in my sense, a little bit better. At least in the sense that everything tends to be symmetrical, and the reason why everything often tends to be symmetrical when you want it to is because of this mirror modifier. Now, for this mirror modifier to work properly, you need to have your point of origin right there. See that orange dot there? Right in the center. Because what's going to happen is Blender is looking at this side, and then it's going to take this side once we put the modifier on it and put it right on the other side of this point of origin. So to put the modifier on, we're going to hover our mouse here. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel. I'm going to click this, what looks like a wrench. This is your modifier menu. I'm going to click right here, and then I'm going to go to mirror modifier. As soon as I clicked here, you can see the mirror modifier, this transparent looking mesh is the mirror modifier. To make this look just like the other side, you can click this triangular looking button right here. And then to keep this side of the mesh from pulling apart from the mirror side of the mesh, you can put a check mark right here and clipping, and that's definitely what you want to do. Okay, now that we have that done, what we want to do is we're going to take these edges right here and we're going to pull them out to this grid line pretty much right here. So we're going to go to edge select. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button and turn to the side. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to press Z to bring up the panel so I can go to solid view. With edge select on, I'm going to select here. See how this gets in the way? Sometimes I'll just go here just to get that out of the way. Sometimes I'll zoom in, and I'm just zooming just to get around that. You can also hit Control Space to take that away. But anyway, so now that we have this grabbed here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press front here and zoom back just so I can see this line here. So I'm going to kind of use that as a guide. And I'm just going to do the same thing along with these. I'm going to do the same thing with these edges here and kind of, make this wider to come out to about this this grid line right here. So I'm just going to hold the middle mouse button, turn to the side again. I'll select this one first this time, here, here, and here, and that worked better for not having that manipulator being away. I'll select here to go back to front view, and I'll zoom back because when I was zoomed in, I can see like the little grid lines is kind of harder to see these big ones. So I zoom back, I can see this here. Hopefully you'll be able to see that on the recording. If not, we're just getting a general shape of making this wider, just pulling out these edges to about here. Okay, so I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn to the side. Let me zoom in a little bit by rolling the mouse wheel. I'm going to select here, hold shift and select here. I'm holding shift while I select this. I'm going to select here to go back to front view. I'm just going to pull this out to the side. Again, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, grab here. Shouldn't have to pull this out to the side quite as much. I'm going to press front view and pull this out. So I don't want to pull this all the way out to the line that way. And basically this is going to be the kind of like the cockpit of our powered armor suit here. So that's the general shape. We're just trying to get it so that we'll have enough space to so it looks like a pilot can fit inside of this thing. Okay, so now I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn to the side. I'm going to pull this line out here kind of forward, pull this line out here kind of back. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button. I still have edge select on. I'm going to select here, hold shift and select here. I'm going to press the O key to turn on our proportional edit. The proportional edit allows you to manipulate multiple vertices, edges, and faces at the same time. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button just so we can get a better view as we manipulate these multiple edges we have here. I'm going to press G. See that circle that popped up right there? That shows us the area of the area that's influenced by a proportional editing tool. So we press G to get that. Then we're going to press Y so we only move on the Y axis. So we're just going to push that straight forward like that. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, turn to the side, or turn to the back. I'm going to select here, hold shift, select here. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn back. I still have the proportional edit tool on. You can see this blue circle is showing you that it's on. I'm going to press G and then Y and pull this back some like that. Okay, now what we're going to do, I'm going to press A to deselect everything. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to look at the bottom of here. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan up. I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to click here, and I can press O to turn this off, which is the proportional editing tool, or I can click disable. I'm going to just click disable. I'm going to press C for paint select. So we're on face select, and I press C. C allows us to select these faces by painting. I'm going to right click to get out of here. I'm going to go here to select front view. Then I'm going to press E to extrude on the Z axis. Oh, it was already on Z, so it disappeared. It's no problem. See how there's no preview line? And when I press Z again, now you can see the preview line, and then we just bring this straight down just a little bit. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold Alt. Well, actually, before that, I'm going to go to Edge Select. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to select here. I'm going to push this up just a little bit. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure we're on Edge Select. We're going to select here, hold Shift, select here. We're going to pull this up some. This starts bunching out a little bit there, so we'll just push it in towards itself a little bit right there. We're going to go to Face Select, and we're going to select here, 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 and here. Okay, and with that area selected, we're going to press E to extrude just to create new geometry. So we're going to left click to lock in. Doesn't look like we did anything, but we created new geometry on top of the old geometry right there. So with this new geometry, now we're going to press S to scale, and we're just going to scale it in slightly like this. See how it's kind of going over the line slightly there, so we'll just push in towards itself right here. Now I'm actually going to press O to turn the proportional edit tool back on slightly. And this allows me just to, I'm rolling the mouse wheel as I pull this, by the way. And the reason why I did that is because when you scale up with the proportional editing tool, rather than make these faces kind of cross over these, as it scales up, it kind of pushes these to the side, so you don't have any kind of weird clipping issues going on. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to press S to scale on the X axis. Roll the mouse wheel up a little bit like that. I'm going to left click to lock in. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis. Bring this in a little bit like that. Left click to lock in. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to press A to deselect all those faces. We're going to move our mouse wheel right here. Normally, I would use Control R to put a loop cut in, and that's what we want to do right here. People had said they were having problems putting loop cuts in, so I'm going to show you another way of putting loop cuts in. And the way you do that is you go to here. So I'm in the Tools menu. I'm going to scroll down. And see right here where it says loop cut and slice. I'm going to select here. Then after selecting here, when I move my mouse over here, you can see that preview line, which is showing us where our loop cut is going to go in. So I'm going to left click here, left click again to totally lock that in. And we put this loop cut in here just because I want to have this. This is going to be the visor where the pilot's going to be looking out. I just wanted to add some extra shape to this visor. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to press O to turn off this proportional edit. As soon as I push O, you'll see it turn off. So now it's off. We're going to go to vertices, select. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel in to zoom in. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan over. Then I'm going to select these three vertices right here. I'm going to take the manipulator and just push this down some like that. Then I'm going to press A to deselect. Okay, what I'm going to do now is go to face select. I'm going to press C and select all of these faces right here. I'm going to right click to get out of here. I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to press S to scale this in a little bit. I'm going to take the manipulator with all those faces selected and pull up just slightly. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button to turn to the side just because I want more of a 3D view, if you will. With those faces still selected, I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to push those faces in just slightly. And you can kind of hold the middle mouse button. You can kind of see like a 3D view. Like that's how far I actually pushed in. And what I'm going to do with those faces still selected, I'm going to press E to extrude yet again. Left click to lock in. I'm going to press S to scale to go in just a little bit more. I'm going to press E to extrude yet again. Left click to lock in. And this time I'm going to push out a little bit. And again, you can hold your middle mouse button just so you can get kind of like a more 3D view. So you can see this is how far I've actually pushed out here. Okay, what we're going to do now with these faces still selected is we're going to press O to turn on our proportional edit tool. You can see it's on again by this blue circle right here, or blue dot. Then we're going to press G to move on the Y axis and pull it forward like this. Roll the mouse wheel to control how it scales. I'm holding the middle mouse button just to take a look, and that looks pretty decent. With that still selected, I'm going to press O to turn off the proportional edit tool. I'm going to press S to scale in just slightly. I'm going to press I'm going to left click to lock in. Okay, now we're going to press A to deselect. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom out. I'm going to hold shift in the middle mouse button to pan up. I'm going to go to make sure I'm on face select, which I am. I'm going to select here, hold shift, select here and here. What we're about to do here is we're going to try to give this, even though it's a mech suit, we're going to try to make it look like it has chest muscles. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to unclick clipping right here. This is the mirror modifier panel, and by unclicking clipping, it allows me to have a split right here, which is going to help us in, as we work towards getting this chest-like or muscle chest-like shape. Okay, so with the clipping turned off, we're going to press E to extrude. We're going to extrude right out, about like that. I'm going to come over to the tools menu on the tab, and it doesn't have to be, you can just scale it down, but I'm just going to click smooth. I kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes I'll do things just because I haven't used it in a while. So anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to press C for paint select. We're going to select all of this area right here. So I'm rotating the mouse just so you can see what we have selected. Then I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis like this. Pull this up a little bit like this. Now what I'm going to do is press A to deselect. Okay, now what we're going to do before we forget, we're going to put a check mark back here. It says clipping is turned back on. We want to put a loop cut right here. You can press Control R to put a loop cut there, or you can use your tab key, go to your tools menu, scroll down a little bit, look for loop cut and slice. Click here, and then when you move your mouse over the area you want to put the loop cut in, you'll see that preview, which is right there. There's that purple line showing us where the loop cut's going to go. I'm going to left click to lock in. I'm going to left click again to totally lock in. Because when you left click the first time, you can move your loop cut. You left click twice, and it's kind of what I call totally locked in. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn to the side. You can see how this kind of like goes up and down. I don't quite want that. So because this is an up-down direction, like it's coming here, it's going down there, I can straighten this out by pressing S to scale on the Z-axis 0. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to press S to scale on the Z-axis. You can see the little purple line popping out there in the bottom. I'm going to press 0 and then left-click to lock in. You can see now this is a straight line right there. Okay, now with that loop cut in there, we're going to hold the middle mouse button, turn to get a better view. We're going to press S to scale, no access, and just pop this out a little bit, not too much. Then I'm going to press S to scale on the X axis. So the first time it was no access, then I pushed on the X just a little bit. I left click to lock in. Pull this out this side just a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to go back to face select. I'm going to select here, hold shift, and select these faces here. I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to press S to scale. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis, and we're kind of not, we're not trying to get an exact humanoid form here, but we're kind of trying to a little bit get like a, almost like there was a semblance of abdominal muscles there. Okay, what we're going to do now is press A to deselect. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and look at the bottom part here. I'm going to press C for paint select. I'm going to select all of this area here. Now see these four faces right here? I didn't select them, just so you know. I selected, there's four faces going across and 4 faces going that way. And then to the side, you should have those 4 faces there. So what I'm going to do now is press S to scale on the x-axis. See how this kind of bunches up a little bit when I do S to scale on the x-axis. So to make this thinner here still, I'm going to push in a little bit there. I'm going to push this down some. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel back. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button just to get a little bit better view. I'm going to press E to extrude on the Z-axis. And if you're wobbling like me, just press Z again. And take it down a little bit, what seems a little bit far, but that's what you're going to do. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to press S to scale on the Y-axis and bring it like this. Push it down a little bit further. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z, on the Y. It's not the Z, the Y-axis a little bit more. So it's like that. I'm going to press A to deselect. We're going to go to edge select. I'm going to select these 4 edges here. Pull this down a little bit more. Out a little bit. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to press A to make sure everything's deselected. If you really want to make sure everything's deselected, you can press A again. Because if we see everything selected, we can press A one more time. Now we know that everything is absolutely not selected. So what we're going to do is put a loop cut here. I'm going to go to the tab menu where Tools is at. You could also press Control R. You can see there's my loop cut preview right there. I'm going to left click in to put it in there. Left click again to totally lock it in. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel and hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. And I don't like how it's not straight, so I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis 0, then left click to lock in. Okay, and with that done, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn to the side. I'm going to press S to scale on the Y axis just to put a slight bit of curve in here. Okay, now with that done, I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to press C for paint select. I'm going to select all of these faces right here. I'm going to right click to get out of paint select. I'm going to press E to extrude. Left click to lock in. I did that to create new geometry. Now I'm going to press S to scale. Scale this in kind of like that. Then I'm going to press E to extrude again. Left click to lock in, press S to scale in, push in this way, push up this way a little bit. Then I'm going to press E to extrude on the Y axis and take this up like that. And then since that geometry is kind of high, we'll put it a little bit higher. I'm going to press X to bring up our delete menu, and then select faces to delete the faces there. Okay, now with that done, with face select still on, I'm going to select here. I'm going to hold shift, select here, here, manipulator getting in my way. It's going to zoom in, which makes the manipulator be appear to be smaller. I'm going to still holding shift. I'm going to select here. Now I'm going to press O to turn on the proportional edit tool. As soon as I turn it on, you're going to see this turn blue. Whoops. That's one thing. You have to be over the 3D viewport to have your O work the right way, because Blender, depending on where your mouse is in Blender, determines on what your shortcut keys are. So I was holding over here, I press O, nothing happened. You're going to make sure you're holding over here. So I'm going to press over here. When I press O, you can see this turn blue, and that's letting us know our proportional editing tool's on. I'm rolling the mouse wheel to zoom back. I'm holding the middle mouse button just to get a better view. Now I'm going to press G so I can see my area of influence. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel in for the area of influence. I'm going to left click to lock in. Now I'm going to take the manipulator and just pull out like that. Okay, now I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to select this face right here. I'm going to press O to turn off the proportional editing tool. I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate that that face. Normally when you press E, you create new geometry, but I wanted to create new geometry here. Let me right click to get out of that. I wanted to create new geometry here to totally create new geometry that isn't attached to the old geometry. So I'm just going to pull this out to the side here. I'm going to press S to scale. This is going to be the beginning of our leg, kind of like our thigh for the mech. So we have the space here that we made for it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to press S to scale and the Z axis 0 to make sure it's totally flat. Left click to lock in. We're going to press E to extrude, and then it's already on the Z axis. So we're going to ride that straight up like that. Brain them. Yeah, that's fine for now. Okay, so I'm going to press, see this has a funny shading. It's because the normals, basically in Blender, wherever your normals are kind of like a way of how your faces are, your actual faces are facing or the direction they're pointed. So if you have a weird shading like pop up, you can press L while over this object and then press Control N. And what that does is, see this, it says make normals consistent. It just recalculates the normals. Okay, I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to select here. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel back so I can see what's going on. And I'm going to press E to extrude on the Z axis, or if it's already giving you the Z axis like mine was, you just write it down. I'm going to press S to scale. I'm going to press E to extrude again. I'm going to press the Z axis. So for me, it was already there, so it disappeared. I would just press Z again to bring it back. Bring that down just like so. Okay, now what you're going to do is press A to deselect. We're going to go to Edge Select. We're going to select this edge right here. And this is a very useful thing in Blender for positioning your 3D cursor. That's why we selected this edge. I'm going to press Shift S. And then when I choose a cursor to select it, puts our cursor right there. And in Blender, basically wherever your 3D cursor is at is where objects tend to come into. So what we're going to do now is we're going to press Shift A to bring up our menu so we can bring things into Blender. We're going to choose cylinder. And with this, what we're going to do is we're going to, when you bring in your cylinder, don't click anything. Once you bring it in, you want to look right to your left. And basically, you'll see it says vertices here. We don't want this. Let's take this down to 12. And then you'll see this thing that says Cap Fill Ingon. You want to click here and turn this to nothing. So with that done, now I'm going to hold them the mouse button just to get a better look. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis to scale this down. I'm going to press S to scale no axis to shrink this down some. I'm going to pull this to the side. I'm going to roll in. I'm going to hold Shift in the middle mouse button so you can see what's going on. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis a little bit more. I'm going to press A to deselect. With Edge Select on, I'm going to hold Alt. When I press this, because I'm holding Alt, it'll select that entire loop. So I select there. I'm still holding Alt. Now I'm also holding Shift so I can select here. And now what I'm going to do is press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I just created new geometry right there. So now I'm going to press S to scale in like this. Now push left click to lock in. I'm going to use the loop cut tools right here, and to get to them I'm going to press W to activate our specials menu. Then you can see here's loop tools right here, and then I'm going to select bridge, and what bridge did is it just filled in that area right there. You don't need loop cut tools to do this. If for some reason yours didn't activate, you can manually fill this in, or you can even leave it empty, but loop tools makes it easy to fill that area in right there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to press hover our mouse wheel over here. We're going to press L to select all this. We're going to press Shift D, left click to lock in. I'm going to pull this straight up like this. I guess I'll pull it up a little bit higher. Now I'm going to press A to deselect. Okay, now what we're going to do is with Edge Select on, I'm going to hold Alt and select this edge right here so it selects the entire loop. I'm going to press Shift D to create new geometry. I'm going to left click to lock in. I'm going to press E to extrude on the Z axis and take this straight up like this. I'm going to press L to select that entire separate object. Now take the manipulator and pull this straight up. Now the reason why I am, this basically is going to be turned kind of like this way and put onto this leg. The reason why I'm working like this is because it's easier to set things up when this is totally straight up and down, or when we turn it to the side where it's totally left or right, if that makes sense to you. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold Alt, select here. Then I'm going to hold Shift while holding Alt and select here. Now it's similar to what we did right here is what we're about to do, but because this is a longer distance, it's thicker, if you will, than this. If I just E to extrude, it'll pull the new face that we're about to create down a lot. So to do that, to not do that, what we're going to do is we're going to click here. Blender's default pivot point is medium point. What we're going to do is change this to individual origins temporarily. Now what that's going to do is, even though I have this edge selected and this edge, and I'm about to extrude in, because I selected individual origins, instead of extruding and like as extruding it would work down towards like the center of both of these selected ring of vertices. But because I selected individual origins, now when I press E to extrude and then I scale in, it should scale in like we want it to, pretty much like it'll just make it come this way rather than making it go down that way. So anyway, with that pivot point change to individual origins, we're going to press E to extrude, and then we're going to press S to scale, and that's what I wanted to do, was to scale like that, which is cool. Okay, and with that done, we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to go make sure we change this from this pivot point back to where it's normally at, which is the medium point. You know what the heck, let's put a bridge in here. A lot of times I think about geometry, but I will put a bridge in here also. So basically, if you look here, this is hollow, right? Where you look here, you can see like it doesn't look hollow. It makes it look like more like a real object. So I'm going to hold the middle mouse button just to look the bottom here. I'm going to hold Alt and Shift at the same time. So now I have this ring selected, and then I also have that ring selected. I'm going to press W to bring up my specials menu. I'm going to go to Loop Tools. Then I'm going to select Bridge. So now it looks, it's not flat inside there. Okay, now I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to press L while hovering over here to select this entire object. Then I'm just going to push this down in between the two, like so. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis. Let's make it a little bit longer. Now I'm going to press, while this is already selected, I'm going to press L, no shift or anything, just L again. And now I'm going to press R to rotate on the Y axis, I believe. 9-0. Left click to lock in. And then I'm just going to take the manipulator and push this here. Like that. You can see we're going to have to adjust things. So now we'll press S to scale on the X axis. Let's see here. I think I'm going to press Alt S, which makes things fatter or skinnier, to make this actually fatter. Yeah, I like it. And I'll just push this way a little bit. And what I'm going to do, just like I told you, that make the Alt S makes things fatter. I'm actually going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to go to Face Select first. Now I'm holding Alt. Now I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to select here. So we have this whole thing selected here. I'm also going to hold Shift and select here. So we selected a ring of faces here by holding Alt. We held Shift, and we selected a ring of faces here by holding Alt. Then we held Shift just to add this face to the selection. Now we're going to press Alt S to shrink this leg up some. I'm going to press S to scale on the X axis. That's the scale on the x-axis more. Okay, now what we're going to do is press A to deselect. We're going to go to edge select. We're going to select this edge right here. We're going to press S to scale. Oops, too much. Let me right click, get out of there, press S to scale again. Like that. We'll press Control R to put a loop cut. Here we'll press Alt S. There we go. I like how that's looking a lot more now. Remember, you can also do your loop cuts from and not too close. You can also do your loop cuts from here. Could have pressed loop cut and slice as well. And basically what we're doing here, if everything doesn't look quite right, basically what we're trying to do is get the basic shape, and as it comes along, we can, work, more with this. But we want to have our basic shape in place. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to press A to make sure everything's deselected. Because we see everything selected, and we know when we press A again, nothing will be selected. We're going to go to Edge Select, hold Alt, select here. Okay, sometimes Alt doesn't always select, and it doesn't matter. We're just using this to position the cursor. We're going to press Shift S. Then we're going to have our Snap To menu. We're going to choose Cursor to Selected. Cursor's right there. Now we're going to press Shift A. We're going to go from our Shift A brings up our Mesh menu or Add To menu. We're going to choose Cube. We're going to pull these cubes away from each other. And now this is, if you guys saw my other mech tutorial, I really like how easy it is to make, somewhat easy cube-like objects more complicated. So we have our basic cubes right here. So what we can do to easily add detail to these cubes is we're going to press Control B, which is a bevel shortcut, and then we're just going to pull slightly, and you see those extra edges come in. So now we have the cubes, but they're not quite, for lack of a better word, as boring as they were before when we first brought them in. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on our we're going to click here and we're going to turn on our connected proportional editing tool. You can get to that from a shortcut by pressing Alt S, or you can just go here. We're going to go to face select. We're going to select this face right here. The proportional edit normally grabs the area that's in the area of influence. The connected proportional edit, which is what we just turned on, only grabs what is directly attached to what you have selected. So I'm going to press G and then Z. I'm going to push down. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel to control and make sure everything's not too bunched up. Let me raise it up just a little. I'm going to left click the lock in just to get a little bit of different, variation to the shape that we brought in. Let's go to the side, see how this looks. So we're going to hover our mouse over this, press L, which selects a separate object. Whoops, I'm going to press Control Z. I'm going to turn off proportional edit. When I press L here, it turned it to regular proportional edit, so I have to push it a second time to turn it all the way off. Just going to pull this back some. I'm going to rotate the middle mouse button to bring us back to the front. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press A. I'm going to press Control R to put a loop cut right here. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel one time. I'm going to left click to lock in. Now I'm going to press S to scale. And I can scale because I only left clicked one time. Remember before we left clicked twice? So I'm going to scale, and this allows me to put these loop cuts closer to each other. So I'm going to left click to lock in, totally lock in. I'm going to press A to deselect. Now I'm going to press Control R to put a loop cut right here. See how it's going up and down? I don't want that. I want it going straight across. So remember how we did it before. S to scale on the Z axis, 0. Left click to lock in. And now we have it going straight. So now with that done, what I want to do is select here, hold Shift, select here, and here, and here. And I'm actually going to push this forward a little bit like this. Then I'm going to press E to extrude on the Y axis like this. I'm going to press E to extrude on the Y axis again. I'm going to press S to scale. Push this forward a little bit more. I'm going to go to Edge Select. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to select here and here. I'm going to push this out some like that and push this down some like that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is press A to deselect. We're going to select, whoops, go to Phase Select. We're going to select here, here, and here. And I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to press S to scale. Then I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, S to scale again. Push this in some here like that. That's fine. I'm going to go to this side. Let me roll the mouse wheel in to zoom in so you can see this. I'm going to hold shift to the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to select here and here and here and here. I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, S to scale. E to extrude again, left click to lock in. I'm going to take the manipulator and push in like this. Press S to scale. Push this down some like that. Maybe I'll grab here. Push this down some like that. Let's grab this inner part here. These faces, I'm just holding shift. That's going to drag over without extruding. Press S to scale a little bit down further. I'm going to push this back this way. I'm going to press E to extrude. Press S to scale. E to extrude on the X-axis and take this in some like that. Now what I'm going to do is press A to deselect. Okay, and we are going to hover our mouse right here. We're going to press A. Everything's selected, so we'll press A one more time to make sure everything is deselected. We're going to press L to select here. We're going to press Shift D to duplicate this. We're going to left click to lock in. We're going to push this down like this. We're positioning this to kind of go through like this space we made here, and here is the goal. So just taking the manipulator and looking to see what looks decent, and that looks pretty good right there. Okay, but let's press A to deselect. Let's go to edge select. Select here. Hold shift, select here. Push straight down. Push out here. We're going to go to vertice, select now. We're going to grab this vertice right here. Pull this out some. That, and then we'll push this down some. This is kind of difficult. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm going to hold shift in the middle mouse button so you can see. I'm going to grab that vertice right there. Push this out some. Grab the vertice right here. Pull that in some. I'm going to push this out. Push this down some. Okay, let's zoom back to take a look at what we have so far. And see, basically what's going on is the pilot is going to be mainly going to be in this section right here. So we want this to be very armored, very big looking, massive looking. This right here is going to be mainly robotics because the pilot's body isn't actually going to be in this lower part right here. Okay, we definitely want this section to look very armored since this is where our pilot's going to be at. So we're going to roll the mouse wheel in, hold shift in the middle mouse button at pan. We're going to go to face select, press C for paint select. We're going to select all of this area right here. Right click to get out of paint select. Hold the middle mouse button to turn to the back, press C to select right here. Now what we're going to do is press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to press Alt S, which can make things fatter or skinnier. It's fatter like this. I'm going to pull this back like that. And I want this to kind of match up with there, so I'm going to press A to deselect. And when I say this, I mean I want this edge to not be going in like that. I want this to come out, so I'm going to go to Edge Select. I'm going to select here, here. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, turn, here, and here. I'm going to push this down a little bit and pull this out. And I'm just bringing it out so to match right there. I do the same thing here. I'm just holding shift as I select these multiple edges. Pull this out like that. I'm going to press A to deselect everything. I'm going to select here, here. Pull this out. Select just these two faces. I'm just holding the middle mouse button to rotate the view. Yeah, it looks much more armored now. I like that. A lot of times when I'm designing human beings, it makes me think about God. It makes me think about us being made, the design of us. When I'm dealing with mechanical things, it makes me think about engineers planning out, how things are, and it's kind of fun to do that. Just like this, with this being a cockpit. Like if somebody was designing this, what would they be designing it for? And I would assume they would design it to. I'm just pulling this back to even it up with that. I would assume they would be designing it to have a fearsome, the armor to have a fearsome appearance to the enemy, whatever enemy it's going against, because you figure that would help give you some kind of battle edge, and you want your pilot to be protected. So I don't know. I think it's cool to think about that kind of stuff. Anyway. Let me click right here, pull back. And I just don't want these lines so much going like that. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press, so when it starts, because it's mechanical and it feels like it starts getting out of control to me, I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to go to Edge Select, and I'm going to select right here, this whole edge. I held Alt, so I would select that whole ring, and I'm going to press S to scale. On the y-axis, 0. Left click to lock in. Now it made it a straight line. Now before we use Z, because it was up and down, with these lines here, it's forward and back. So when it's forward and back, to flatten it out, you would press S to scale on the y-axis, because Y deals with forward and back. When you're flattening out a line like this, if it's going up and down here, you would press S to scale on the Z-axis like we did before. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to press A to deselect there. We're going to hold Alt. We're going to select here. We're going to press S to scale on the y-axis, 0. You can see that just straightens that line out. You can see how nice this looks, nice mechanical like we want it to look. See this right here? So we'll just do the same thing. We'll press A to deselect, we'll hold Alt. We'll select here. We'll press S to scale on the y-axis, 0. Left click to lock in. Okay, there we go. Those lines nice and back in control again. So I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn. This grid is getting on my nerves. I know it's been there the whole time. Sometimes I like it there. It makes me, I don't know. But I'm going to go to, I just opened up here. I went to display, and then I'm just going to put uncheck grid floor. Press N to take that away. And I'm just looking at what we have here. Holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Okay, let's continue. Okay, we're going to add some extra protection for right here. I'm going to try to go through this somewhat quickly, since this tutorial, so it seems to me, is already getting long. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan up. I had face select on. I selected that face. I'm going to press shift D. Left click to lock in to pull this face out. Now what I'm going to do is press S to scale on the x-axis. Put this about here. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to press Control R roll the mouse wheel one time, left click to lock in, left click again to totally lock in. I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to select this face. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis. And by the way, whenever you see somebody doing something fast, one thing very cool in YouTube, I don't know if everybody's aware of this, you can actually push the little star looking gear or gear looking option in on YouTube, and you can make the video slow down. The people sound hilarious. Slow down. I've listened to myself slow down. It sounds funny. However, it when they're going fast, it's a way of making it through tutorials like this. And I don't know why YouTube put it in there, letting you hear their voice, but I assume that it was for tutorials like this, and it works out well. Anyway, let me press A to deselect, L to select this whole thing, and press S to scale on the X-axis like this. I'm now going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to push straight forward like this. I'm going to press S to scale. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I'm rolling the mouse wheel to zoom in. We're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. Scale this in like this. I'm going to press E to extrude on the Y axis, bring this forward like this. I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, press S to scale like this. Then E to extrude on the Y axis to bring this forward like this. Then A to deselect. Okay, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and just look to this side. I'm going to press A. So when I pressed A, I did this just to see if something was selected. Nothing was selected. Now I just press A again, and now I know that nothing is selected. So I could press Control R. I'm going to put 2 loop cuts here. I'm going to use this time, which is the Tools tab. From the tab menu, I'm going to go to loop cut and slice. Once I hover my mouse over here, I can see that loop cut. Then I'm going to left click to lock in. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel. I didn't left click. I rolled the mouse wheel. And you see that, 2 preview lines. And I'm going to left click to lock in. Left click again to totally lock in. And what I want to do is I'm going to go through face select. I'm going to grab this face right here. I'm going to press E to extrude on the Y axis. Just that so we can have a point where this shielding, hooks into the rest of the legs. This is going to be, just more protection. Just taking the manipulator, just, positioning this somewhat. Push it down a little bit more. And put it up some. Okay. Okay, we're going to roll the mouse wheel back. Press A to deselect. It's coming along. Let's look towards the back. Okay, what we're going to do now is with face select on, we're going to select these 4 faces right here. And now we're going to press Shift D to totally create separate technology. We're going to pull this out like this. Then we're going to press S to scale on the X axis, 0 to flatten that out. Just holding the middle mouse button to take a look. Okay, now we're going to press E to extrude on the X axis and just pull this out like this. Left click to lock in. Okay, so let's shape this a little bit. So we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to go to edge select. We're going to select this edge here. We'll pull this up some. We'll select this edge right here. Pull this out some. Now normally you could just press, you could just go select the faces here, press W, bring up the loop tools, and then select the circle. But I figured I'll show you, you don't have to do that because sometimes, for whatever reason, the loop tools don't seem to work sometimes. For some people, most people it does, but all you do is just manually, put it in a circular shape, like you see there. So I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to press C for paint select. I'm going to select all the faces here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to press E to extrude on the x-axis. Like so. We're going to press E to extrude on the x-axis yet again. Let's look to the side. Looks not bad. E to extrude on the x-axis yet again. Press S to scale. Hold the middle mouse so we can see the side. Still decent. I'm going to press S to scale on the y-axis just slightly. E to extrude on the x-axis again. Left click to lock in. Okay, what we're going to do now is take this and just push this in. Something like this. Now we're going to press E to extrude on the x-axis again, like this. And E to extrude on the x-axis about half as thick as those other rows of faces right there. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn to the side. I'm going to press O to turn on the proportional edit tool. I'm pressing S to scale on the x-axis. Whoops, y-axis. To make this a little bit wider. Just rolling the mouse wheel to make sure it's fairly even. Now we're going to press O to turn off the proportional edit tool. Now we're going to press X to bring up our delete menu. We're going to delete the faces right there. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn so I can see the top part of this. It's going to be a hand. I'm going to press A to select everything, A to deselect everything, just so I absolutely know that nothing is currently selected. I'm going to press L to bring up the knife tool. I'm going to hover the mouse over this line right here. I'm going to left click. I want to cut these 4 faces right here. So I'm going to left click here, and then I'm going to press enter on the keyboard right there. Now I'm going to hold the mouse wheel to look at the bottom part of here. I'm going to press shift and the middle mouse button to pan up. I'm going to press A to select everything, A to deselect to make sure absolutely nothing is selected. I'm going to press K to bring up the knife tool. This time I'm going to cut 6 faces. I'm going to cut all the way to here. Bring it down to here. Left click to lock in, press enter to cut those faces there. Okay, I'm going to rotate the view so I can see what's going on here. Okay, now that we have that done, we're going to roll in. We're going to go to vertice select. We're going to select this vertice here. And this is the foundations of getting the fingers started. So we're going to press F to fill there. We're going to select this vertice here. Hold shift to select this vertice. I'm still holding shift. This vertice and this vertice. We're going to press F. We're going to select this vertice here. Hold shift, select this vertice, this vertice, this vertice. Press F. We're going to select this vertice here, this vertice here, this vertice here, and this vertice here, and press F. We want that spot right there because if we filled this in right now, we would have a triangle. I'd rather not have triangles in this model. So we're just going to press Control R. Puts a loop cut in. We're going to left click once. Because we only left clicked once, we still have the ability to move this. We're going to move this down about like there. Now we have 4 vertices here. So now what we're going to do is select this vertice here, this, and this. And we have 4 vertices to our face rather than 3. So we don't technically have a triangle. Generally, you want to try to avoid triangles. Anyway, I'm going to press F here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to... actually, let's grab this face here. Pull this up a little. We're going to go to face select here. We're going to press E to extrude, ride that right out. Or you can just push the Y axis. I'm going to press S to scale. Then I'm going to press E to extrude on the Y-axis again. Has to scale down a little bit. Then E to extrude on the y-axis again. I'm going to press S to scale up a little bit, and E to extrude one more time, S to scale down a little bit. Okay, now what we're going to do is with face select on, we're going to press A to deselect there. We're going to select here, 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 and here. It used to be when I first learned how to do hands, I would do each finger individually. It takes very time consuming. Now this is a quicker way to do fingers. Not, there's many different ways. I'm not sure what quote unquote would be the best way, but this is pretty decent because it's fairly quick. So the way this works is our Blender's default pivot point is medium point. We're going to take it from medium point, which is the default pivot point, and then we're going to go to individual origins. All right. Now with that individual origins on, because we have that on, like normally if we didn't turn that on and do what we're about to do, when we extruded this out, this would be one face all connected. But what we're going to do now is each of these faces will be its own quote unquote finger. So with the pivot point turned to individual origins, now we're going to press Alt E instead of just regularly extruding like we normally do. And we're going to choose individual faces, right? So we're going to left click to lock in. So we have that new geometry. Now we're just going to pull out here a little bit. Now at first it looks like, this is all one mass, but because of this pivot point being on individual origins, and because we extruded individual faces, now when we scale down, you can see that these are actually separate, the beginnings of separate fingers. So I'm going to press O to bring out a proportional editing tool. I'm going to press S to scale on the y-axis to flatten this out a little bit. Okay, now we're going to do just like we did before. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn to the side a little bit. First, we want to make sure we turn off this proportional editing tool. We're going to press O. Now we're going to press, because we have these faces, because they're separated now we no longer have to push Alt E. We can just press E. And you can see there's our preview line showing us what's going to happen. I pressed X to make it straight on the X axis, so we'll take these fingers out, like this. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis a little bit like that. The scale a little bit like that. Then when I press E to extrude on the X axis again, shrink this down just a little bit. E to extrude on the X axis yet again. Shrink that down a little bit. E to extrude on the X axis yet again. Then E to extrude on the X axis again. Holding the middle mouse button just to take a look. I'm going to press Alt S. Oops, okay, that's not going to work. With the individual origins, I'm going to turn this back to medium pivot point. Let's see what happens now. Yeah, I wanted that to spread just slightly. Now let's press Alt S. Oops, still will not work with all of them, which is fine. Okay, we're going to press E to extrude on the X axis and then shrink this down some. Let's say because I shrunk it down without the individual origins, you see what happened. If I press scale, see how they all come together? So I guess this can be a good thing. I'm going to press Control Z to go back. Then I'm going to turn this back to individual origins. Now what happens when I press, watch what happens when I press S. See how I scale down, like you could expect that we wanted them to scale. So that's fine. So now that we have that done, we'll click here. We'll turn this back to Blender's default pivot point, which is the medium point. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to select here. Actually, I'm going to hold Alt and select this whole loop right here. I'm going to press Shift D. Left click to lock in. I'm going to press S to scale. I'm then going to press E to extrude. Left click to lock in. Alt S to scale this up. Like so. I'm going to press, hover my mouse wheel over here and press L. So I select this entire thing right here. I'm going to grab this top part right here. Push this down some. Just going to reshape this a little bit. I'm going to go to edge select these edges right here, pull this out. Like that. Edge vertice select here, pull this out. But I'm going to hover my mouse here. I'm going to press A to deselect everything, A to select everything, A to deselect everything. I'm going to press L, press S to scale this down some. Taking a look at it. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to go to phase select. We're going to select here, hold shift, select here, 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 here. Hold the middle mouse button to turn. All of this here. Zoom in so you can get a better look. I could have did this with paint select as well. And we'll just select here, 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 here. And I'm just rotating the view just to see what we exactly have selected. I'm actually going to select this as well. And let me just select this also, make sure everything is selected that I want to be selected. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press the Y key. So I just pressed it, left click to lock in. Whoops, let me hit Control Z to go back. What that Y key did when I pressed it, because I went back to just regain the selection, not to undo the Y key. And the Y key is the split key. So what it did was it separated this selected geometry from this geometry. So you see if I pull up, you can see that that is separate now. So what I'm going to do now with that being separate is I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to press Alt S. And I'm going to press L to select everything. I'm going to press S to scale. I'm just going to push this back down. This here, I'll grab these and pull these up. Push this out. Now I'm going to press A to deselect. So something was selected. I'm going to press A to totally select everything, then press A to make sure there's absolutely nothing selected. Now I'm hovering over here. I'm pressing L, L, and I'm pulling this out some. See how far can I pull this out? Okay, not too far. Okay, now I'm going to push down because I still want this arm to be, basically going in there. I just wanted some space between this and that. I'm going to press A to deselect. And now I want these to be bigger, the bootleg part of the armor. So I'm actually going to do is I'm going to press A to select everything, A to deselect everything again, just to make sure nothing was selected. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to press Z, go to wireframe. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel back. I'm going to hold Control and hold the right mouse button, which will let me draw a loop select along all of this stuff. Then I'm going to press Control L. So I pretty much grabbed everything but the boot armor part. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scale. Now when I scale, because we have a mirror modifier on it, on here you're going to see this side going that way and this side in the middle getting wider, and that's fine. So we'll scale, and you can see there it goes right there, and then we just fix that, just push it in. Scale again. Push it in. push it down here. Actually, I want to pull this up some here. When I press S to scale a little bit more, push that in. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to press L. Actually, I'll press Z. Go to wireframe. I'll hold Control, hold the right mouse button. I'll draw a loop select around all of that. I went into transparent mode so that I could, grab everything. Now I'm going to press Z. Then choose solid. I'm going to press S to scale in the Z axis. Make this a little bit taller. Now we'll push this up some here. Maybe S to scale a little bit bigger. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to press A to deselect the leg portion there. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel in. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn. Just to take a look, I'm going to go to Phase Select. I'm going to use Paint Select by pressing C. I'm going to select all this right here. Hold the middle mouse button to turn. Press C again to select the rest of this. I'm going to press R to get out of Paint Select. I held the middle mouse button to turn back to the front. Now I'm going to press Shift D, left click to lock in. That created separate geometry. Pull that over some here. I'm going to press S to scale that up some. Okay, now I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, and I'm just going to pull this up some like that. Over this way a little bit. I'm going to press L to select this entire bit right there. I'm going to press S to scale to get a little bit bigger, and I'm going to press R to rotate on the X axis. Whoops, on the Y axis. And just yet even more armor for the shoulders. Just S to scale this down some. R to rotate on the Y axis. Scale some. Let me press R to rotate on the Y axis. I'm just trying to see how I want to position this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these edges right here. I just held Shift to grab them. I'm just going to pull up. I'm going to grab these edges right here. Pull up over some like that. Okay, I'm going to press A to deselect there. I'm going to still with edge select on. I'm going to select, I'm going to roll the mouse wheel in. I'm going to zoom here, push this in just a little. I'm going to go to vertice select. Just didn't want the chest looking piece to be too far from the other piece. Roll back to take a look. Just A to deselect. Okay, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button just to turn and look at the underside of this hand. Rolling the mouse wheel to zoom in. Holding Shift in the middle mouse button to pan. Rolling with the mouse wheel again. Let me select here, which will allow me to rotate right on there. That's one of the things I work with that I don't think I've mentioned before. Whenever a new version of Blender comes out, like currently this is Blender 2.74, 2.75 is about to come out, I go to, one of the first things I do, besides setting it for left click, is I go to editing. Is this where it's at? Go to interface, here we go. And I put a check mark next to here, rotate around selection, and it tends to help. Seems like it helps me. So when I select here, I rotate around that. If I select here, I rotate around that, and I just like that a lot. Anyway, let's draw a line cut between right here. So what we're going to do is press let me press A to make sure. Okay, good. everything selected, press A again. Now we know everything is totally deselected. I'm going to press the K tool to put a cut here and here, and I'm going to press E to put that cut there. You press A to deselect, and we'll press K to put a cut here and here, then press Enter. And that's a little bit better. Okay, let me rotate the view by holding the middle mouse. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan out. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button just to look how this thing is looking. Just taking a look at it. Okay, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, rotate to the front. I'm going to press L to select right here. I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate that. Left click to lock in. I'm going to push this straight down. Roll the mouse wheel in. I'm going to press R to rotate on the Y axis. And just even some more armor. Too big, so we're going to press S to scale. It needs to be longer, so I'm going to press S to scale in the Y axis like that. I'm going to press S to scale to shrink it down. Push this forward a little bit more. Zooming back just to take a look. I'm going to press A to deselect. Okay. Most of the work is done for the main details. I'm going to go to Vertices Select. And I'm actually going to select right here. I'm going to press O to turn on the Proportional Edit tool. I'm going to press G to see my area of influence, and then with that, I'm going to press Z to pull down some. Not working out quite. Okay, I'm going to press G with no access. Pull out to the side some. There we go. That's what I wanted. Left click to lock in. I actually want to reshape this visor a little bit more. So to do that, I'm going to go into sculpt mode temporarily. And I'm going to click here. I'm going to select the grab scope tool brush. I'm going to press F, which if I pull out with F, it increases my area of influence. If I push in, it decreases it. And pull this down. It's very easy to reshape things in sculpt mode. It's when you first deal with it, it's kind of strange, but it is very cool, very useful for just quickly being able to change things around. Let's go back to edit mode. I'm actually going to push these in. Whoops. That's actually not bad, but I'm going to push this in with, I pushed O to turn off proportional editing tool, the proportional editing tool. Just to straighten these vertices up some. See what's going on here. It looks a little strange. See that little bit of weirdness right there? I'm just trying to see what that is. Sometimes it can just be pushing in or pushing down. Okay. So by pushing down, that kind of helped. Pull this out some. I guess it was just too bunched up. That's what I'm doing now. I'm just a little strangeness I had. I'm just giving these edges a little bit more space. See, it's a little bit strange here as well. Maybe not. Still going to push this down some. Okay, this next part is going to be pretty interesting because see, we have this. The only problem is if we something coming up. Okay, I'll show you. We're gonna change this to the Cycles renderer. If you have a NVIDIA 630 or above, I think you can change this to GPU. You also have to change this if you want it to change to GPU, which makes your Cycles renderer run faster. You have to go to system and you have to change your compute device. If you have an NVIDIA card that is 630 or above, you'll be able to go to compute device. You'll see this option. It'll say CUDA. You can select that and you'll be able to use your GPU, which stands for graphic processing unit. I was in Blender's internal engine. There's two engines for rendering. One is Blender's internal engine, and long story short, the way it works is it renders light on a more simple basis than the Cycles renderer, which is what we're currently in. The Cycles renderer tends to make things look very beautiful because it makes light look very much like real light. Now, one issue with the Cycles renderer is the Cycles renderer tends to be a lot slower than the Blender renderer. But just for those of you who don't know, I just don't like when people talk about things like you should know what they are when they, if you're brand new to Blender. Anyway, the reason why I came in here was so we could do this. We've been in edit mode the entire time. We're going to click here. We're going to go to object mode. Here's our 3D cursor. So objects will tend to come in where that's at. We're going to press Shift A, go to mesh, plane. I'm going to press S to scale. Now the reason why I'm putting this plane in here, because we're in the Blender's Cycles renderer, light acts very realistic here. So light, basically in the Blender internal render, when light hits, it'll hit like right here. But in real life, if light is coming from here or coming down from here, it'll hit here and then it'll bounce off the ground and bounce up. The Blender internal doesn't. So since the Cycles renderer does, I'm putting this plane here so that when I put a light above here, the light will hit this as well as bounce off this plane and come back up. And the whole reason you might say, well, why is he even talking about this stuff? How did we go to talking about rendering engines? Well, the reason why is so I could show you this. I just pressed Shift A. I brought another plane in. Now I'm just simply scaling it up. It's just an easy way of doing lighting in Cycles. With this selected, I'm going to go here. I'm going to select this material. I'm going to click New. I'm going to click here. I'm going to change this to Emission. Right now when I press Shift Z, see that right there? This is kind of a real-time view of rendering. This is what this will look like once it's rendered. And I actually think it looks pretty cool. However, it has these hard points on here. Like, see how it's like these edges, and I want to get rid of that. Now, to get rid of that, and see how it has all that green, since I'm sitting here talking, I'll go here. The thing that makes the green, or one of the main things that allows you to have green and not green, there's all kinds of things in Cycles, but see this render here, 10, preview 10. I'm going to click this and turn this up to 100. So as I talk, what you'll see is now that's, I turned up to turn to render. This is the one that stands for actually when you go to render something out. This is the preview. So when I turn this up to 100, I click here. See that number racing up to 100? Basically, the higher this number is, and the more this races up, the clearer this image will get. Anyway, this image right here, I want it to be smooth as well as hard, and what that requires is hard surface modeling. I set up the light in Cycles because I figured it'd be easier for you to see it here. Hard surface modeling, it's kind of interesting because everything looks hard here, which is how we want, but at the same time, you have issues like this. We don't want this. We want it to be smooth there. So now we're gonna work on that. And currently, I'm still learning all the time how to be better with hard surface modeling, because to get rid of this, we're going to put a subdivision surface on it. And when I say this, I mean these edges right here. Right now, we want hard edges like here and here. I want. However, when I put the subdivision surface on, subdivision surface is awesome. It's a modifier that basically smooths things out. It's great for dealing with organic shapes. The issue comes in is when you're dealing with mechanical shapes, where you need smooth and hard. So that's where hard surface modeling comes in. But when I put this on, most of this is going to look soft and kind of funny looking because it's supposed to be mechanical. So let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to click here. Whoops. Let me press Shift Z to go back. I'm going to select here. Then I'm going to press, I'm going to go into edit mode. And then I'm going to select here and select subdivision surface. So you can kind of see the subdivision surface happening right now. When I click here, you can really see it coming in. Click this up to 2 views. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press A to select everything. I'm going to press Z and go to shade smooth. So now I'm going to go back and re-render. And you can see, remember, all this was hard. So we have this, which we want, but we lost a lot of hardness. So now we have to get that back. There's a couple different ways of doing it. See, particularly like here. It's interesting. And here. Okay, one of the things we're going to do to make it easier to work to see what's going on is we're going to go right here. Hover your mouse wheel here. It almost looks like a triangular shape with stripes going through it. You're going to hover your mouse right here, left click and hold, and pull to the side, and this will split your screen. Now, if you click here, you can select rendered. That's one way of getting to the rendered view. I'm going to press Shift Z, and that's another way. You can see it also selected render, and I've pressed Shift Z, it'll go right back to the non-rendered. So this right here, see how soft that looks? Make sure I have this. That sample's okay. 100. See how soft this looks right here? Pretty much this whole thing right here, I want to be almost the entire leg part right here. I want it to be hard, so this is fairly easy to deal with. I do want this to be curved smooth though. So to deal with this isn't too difficult, and I'll show you how to do that now. Okay, and again, the split screen, it just allows us to see what changes as we do it. So we're in object mode, we're selected on our object, we're going to click here to go into edit mode. And what we're going to do here, I'm going to rotate the view by holding the middle mouse button. Okay, what we're going to do is press A to deselect. And we're going to press Z to bring up the wireframe mode. And what you're going to want to do is we're going to hold control, hold the right mouse button, and we're going to select all of this right here. And then because we have part of this leg selected, we can press Control L and it'll select that entire leg. So we're going to press Z to go back to solid view away from wireframe view. And with all of this selected, what we can do is we can press Shift E. And Shift E allows us to manipulate the mean crease value. I'm going to press N. I'm going to press N to bring up this menu. I'm going to go all the way up to the top. And see this right here that says mean crease? I can take this value, I can slide this all the way up to 1, and this will make us have a mean crease of 1, which basically, long story short, it makes things look sharp. However, there's a way that I prefer to do it. I just wanted to show you this so you know what is going on as far as this this technique. I'm going to press N to get that to disappear. I'm going to press Shift E. Now what that does is that does the same thing. It's almost like we're selected in that menu of mean crease. And then as I pull up, you see how that the lines are changing. Basically, eventually they'll change all the way to pink. And when they turn fully bright pink, and you can even see like the sharpness changing, the mean crease is still not 1. Let me zoom out some. Press Shift E again. Pull up more. And it's sharper here. Because we turn that mean crease up, and it looks a lot better. Now you still might be saying, oh, it looks, still looks kind of funny, and it does. It doesn't have that sharp mechanical look. It looks soft, almost like clay, which we don't want. One of the things you want to add to using the mean crease is the edge split modifier. So we're going to click this wrench right here, what looks like the wrench, to go to the modifier panel. Okay, and when I apply this edge split modifier, what the edge split modifier actually does is it actually separates edges. Like, it separates them similar to when we would press the Y. It splits edges. So one of the things I want you to remember about that is it'll make things look a lot sharper. But if you realize that things look sharper because they're split, you can also manually split things by using Y or V for rip. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, let me click here. I'm going to press T. When I press T, this menu will disappear. Should disappear. There we go. T there. And then when I press N, oops, okay. I just took away that T panel just to give us a little bit more space. Actually, let me zoom in so you can see. So pay attention right here. So this is with a mean crease of 1. All of this right here, but not with the edge split modifier on. So watch what happens once we put the edge split modifier on. So we click here. We look for edge split, which is right here. See that right there? Zoom in. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button so you can see that. And my samples has to raise up a little bit, but you can see now this looks very hard and very sharp, which is what we want for right here. And the mean crease helps, but the edge split modifier, really puts that extra level of sharpness in there. Okay, one of the things we need to deal with working with this powered armor suit mesh is the hand. So I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and zoom in on the hand right here. I'll go to this view and I'll get the hand in view so you can see it. So with the hand, we want to put a mean crease on the fingers here. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to press A to deselect anything. I'm going to press A again, so everything's selected. So now we can press A again to make sure that everything is totally deselected. We're going to hover our mouse wheel here. We're going to press L. Then we're going to press H to hide this, so we can just see the hand. I'm going to press Z to go to wireframe mode. In wireframe mode, you see how that looks kind of messy. If I look for my subdivision surface modifier, which is the thing that's giving it the soft look, see where it says optimal here? If I put a check mark here, it makes the geometry look a lot less complicated, and most of the time makes it easier to work with. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hold control, then hold the right mouse button, draw a loop around all of this geometry right here. Got a little bit we didn't want, so I'm going to zoom in here. Let me shrink this somewhat. Just to put back just a little. I'm going to press C for paint select. Then I'm going to hold the middle mouse button just to get rid of that. I'm going to hover my mouse here. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel to get this over this part right here, which is what I want to see. Now I'm going to press Shift E, and I'm going to pull. Then I can even pull and then let go. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel back. I'm going to press Shift E again, and you can see the because the edge split's already on there. You can see how sharp this is. But now we want the spaces in between each of the finger joints, which to me looks like a proper robot hand. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, excuse me, we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to zoom in here, and you can see that the purple lines are showing us that there's a mean crease on here. What we're going to do now, since we're already in wireframe, is we're going to press B for box select. We're going to grab all of this right here, all of these fingers right here. I'm just drawing a lasso, trying to get the geometry I want and dodging the geometry that I don't want. And if you do get geometry that you don't want, like it looks like I have right here, you can always press C, hold your middle mouse button, and the middle mouse button while being held will act like an eraser, as you can see right there. I right click to get out of that, out of the paint select. So now that we have this selected, what we're going to do is press X to bring up our delete menu, and then we're going to choose faces to delete those fingers. The reason why we deleted those fingers was because we don't want to have to do the work that we're about to do on all of those fingers. I mean, you could do that, but I'm just choosing not to do that here. So I'm going to press Z to go back to solid mode. This right here is the top plane. That's what you see. Looks like everything disappeared. Looks like everything disappeared. That's just that plane. And that plane, so it doesn't get in the way, what you can do is I'm going to click to go back to object mode. I'm going to select this plane. I'm going to press the M key. And this these panels that pop up here are layer panels, and they allow you to organize things. They're also very useful for making things not getting your way visually, but still be there when you need them. So we're currently on this layer right here, which is, I believe, I would think of this as layer 1. I'm going to click right here to move that to layer 2, and then when I need it back, this is the layer panel right here. So this one you can see grayed out. This is layer 1. Here's layer 2. If I want that panel back, I just hold shift and then I select here, and you can see there's the panel. And then if I hold shift and select it again, it disappears again. So I'm going to select our mesh here, click here, and go back into edit mode so we can continue working. You can see this is a little dark right now because the light is currently not showing. That's fine for now. We're going to zoom in here, and with face select on, we're going to select here, hold shift, select here, and here. We'll also select here. So we're selecting this joint that's in between the main sections, what I would consider the main sections of the fingers. So I think we have them all selected. So we're going to press X to bring up our delete menu. Then we're going to choose faces to delete. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to edge select. We're going to hold Alt, select here, and then we're going to press E to extrude. And the reason why there's a circular looking shape here is just because of the different modifiers working. And for what we're trying to do, I actually like that there. So I'm just going to select and press E to extrude right there. And now let me actually go here, select here, go to object mode. I'm going to bring back that plane so you can see right there. See this right here, how this is soft? I want this to be soft, but I want this line to be hard right here. So one of the what we've done so far is we've pretty much selected almost an entire region, and we've selected the faces on it, hit Shift E. I'm going to show you how to put a line, just a hard line on one part of an object. So this is currently hidden here, though the preview shows it here. So I'm just going to press Alt H to bring it back into view. I'm going to go to edge select. Well, I'm going to press A to deselect that first. With edge select on, I'm going to select here, 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 and here, and here, and here. You can see from this, just the orange line, that this doesn't have a mean crease. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom back some. You can keep looking there. See, it's soft right now. So I'm going to press Shift E. So now when I pull, now you can see that this is still soft, but yet we have a hard line right here, which is what we wanted. Okay, one of the things that's useful when you're dealing with mechanical things is to realize that duplication is a good thing when dealing with mechanical objects. So what we're going to do now is we're going to press A to deselect, press A to select everything, just to make sure that nothing is selected. We're going to press A again. I'm going to hover my mouse wheel here. I'm going to press L. That was interesting. I'm going to press A, actually. I'm going to press L right over here. Zoom in so I can see. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that's what I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift D, left click to lock in. Then I'm going to pull the duplicate out. Take the duplicate up here. And what we're going to do is, this is kind of like a robot joint, you know. So we're going to use this since it's already made for our fingers. So what I'm going to do is press R to rotate on the Z axis, 9-0. Left click to lock in. Press S to scale. Scale it down some. Left click to lock in. Now what I'm going to do is just move this into position so that it looks like it is a joint, you know, for the hand. Just taking the manipulator and just setting this up, putting it into position. And I think we'll actually, should we make it, we'll make it a little bit thinner, so we'll press S to scale on the Y axis. And you can spend a lot of time. I was looking at it saying, should I put it inside? Should I keep it to the side? I think for the sake of time, I think I'm just gonna put it to the side. I'm gonna press Shift A, left click to lock in. Move this over here. See if that's lined up right. So it can be moved a tad more over. There we go. Okay, so the nice part, so since we have that set up, now we have this selected there. We can just hover our mouse wheel here, press L to select here. Now we'll press Shift D to duplicate this. Left click to lock in. We'll take our manipulator and then just pull this straight forward so it's lined up with this joint. Just hold the middle mouse button just to take a look. So now that we have all of that work done, we can take this finger and duplicate it to the rest of the hand. So what we're going to do is hold the middle mouse button and tilt this down. Let's go into object mode. And then just select just this layer. So the light's not in our way. We'll go back into edit mode. And now we just want to select all of this right here. So we're going to press Z to go into wireframe mode, and we'll tilt the view a little bit more by holding the middle mouse button. We'll make sure that we're on face select, and then we're going to press A to deselect. We could leave it on, but I prefer to turn it off for whatever reason. I'm going to hold Control and then hold the right mouse button to do a lasso select, and just get all of this geometry in there. If you miss the geometry, you can just manually select it by holding Shift. I'm going to press Z, go back to solid mode. Okay, now with that selected, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button just to get a decent view. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. And I'm just going to press Shift Z, duplicate, left click to lock in. And I'll just pull this over like this. And I'll press Shift D, left click to lock in. And I'll just pull this over like so. Push it back a little bit. And while you're doing things like this, you can just press Shift Z here. As soon as you turn off the render, you'll see your performance will become a lot better here. So I'll press Shift D, left click to lock in, and then just pull this over here into place. And then as far as the fingers being bunched up a little bit, one of the things we can do is right click here to put our 3D cursor here. Then we can click here to change our pivot point to the 3D cursor, right? So now this finger will pivot right off of here. Now we'll press R to rotate on the Z axis. So now that finger has a little bit of room. We'll select here. We'll press A to deselect. Press L. Whoops. Oh, that's right. This finger isn't. Okay. Actually, should have deselected this finger like the other ones. It would have made them easier to deal with. Anyway, I'm going to press L to select here. All the different parts that make up this finger. Right click right here. Because we have the pivot point set to right here, this will rotate on this pivot point. So we're going to press R to rotate on the Z axis. Give our finger a little bit of space. So we'll press A to deselect. We'll hover our mouse wheel here and here. Pressing L as I hover. Here, here. I'll right click right here to put my 3D cursor there. Okay, so with this selected, we'll press R to rotate on the Z axis and give us a little bit of space. It's not too much. And I think what I'm actually going to do is press for now we'll let's see. Our fingers have space. The joints are messing things up. So I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to try this. We're going to press L, L, L. I'm just hovering over each one of these and pressing L. Roll my mouse wheel back. What I'm going to do is change the pivot point to individual origins. I'm going to press S to scale on the x-axis, or y-axis. That's what it needs to be. Excellent. So because I changed it to individual pivot points, each one of these is getting much thinner, giving us the space that we need. So I just left clicked to lock it in. I'm going to click here and change this back from the individual origins to Blender's default pivot point, which is the medium point. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm just going to maneuver these slightly. I'm going to press L, move this over just a little. Hit A to deselect, L for this one, move this over. I'm going to press A to deselect, press L, push this one over. Press A to deselect, L for this one. Push that one over there. Press A to deselect, L to move it over this one. What happened there? Okay, there we go. Press A to deselect, L, pull this one over a little bit. Hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to press A to deselect. Hover over here and press L. Take the manipulator and move it over a little bit too much. Push it back. Press A to deselect. L to select to push this over some. And obviously, if you take, the more time you take, the better things are going to look. A lot of times I'm doing these tutorials, I have, to remind myself I'm doing a tutorial. And tell myself for the sake of speed, a lot of times your brain will want you to keep pushing. But that's respectable for now. Okay, let's make sure we turn our pivot point back from a 3D cursor back to Blender's default pivot point, which is the median pivot point. We'll zoom back. Just so you know about it, if these purple crease lines ever annoy you, you can press the N key. You can go to Mesh Display and just unclick here where it says creases, and now creases are still there, you just won't see them. So for now, we'll turn those back on. And what we're also going to do is we're going to press Shift Z which again, Shift Z is the equivalent of us clicking here and going to rendered. So we can either, push Shift Z or do that. We'll go here, we'll go back to object mode, and we'll hold Shift, we'll click this so we have light so we can see again. And what we're going to do now is we are going to put some very hard, kind of cool machine lines into this mesh. Okay, we'll go back to edit mode. We'll also add some extra details in, like we can see this right here. It's armor, but it doesn't look too distinct. So what we can do is make sure we're on face select. We can select here, hold shift, select here, here, here. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn. Select here, 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 and here. And what we're going to do to add some distinctiveness to the shoulder armor is we're just going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, and we're going to press S to scale. We're just going to scale this in some, like this. Actually, let me scale that back up some. We're going to press E to extrude again, left click to lock in, and you can just see it just adds some extra detail right there. Though we got to make sure that our geometry isn't getting too bunched up right here, so we'll just pull this out a little bit. Whoops, hit Control Z. The render view over there takes a decent amount of computer power and the screen capture. This right, yeah, I pulled out and it went back a little bit more. We should be able to grab this, and I believe if we push down, there we go. So now we have a little bit, more distinctiveness to this armor here. You remember in the beginning when I was talking about the mirror modifier, just nice to be able to work here and then see it duplicated on the other side. But anyway, let's hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan up. We'll do the same thing here. We'll go to face select, we'll select here, hold shift, select here. So we're basically just selecting, I'm holding the middle mouse button to turn, selecting the middle faces there. So holding the middle mouse button to turn again, just trying to get a view. And press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to press S to scale, and I'm scaling it down some. Left click to lock in, just trying to get that away from the edges. Then I'm going to press E to extrude again, left click to lock in. And I'm going to just push in a little bit. And you can see there's the little bit of weirdness right there. Very similar to up top. I'm going to hold shift. Temporarily, I'm going to hover my mouse here. I'm going to press Shift Z just so I'm not slowing down as I go to fix this. And we'll do just like we did before. We'll go to Edge Select. And basically, we just really need some space. Try to select here. Try to push this in some. Oh, that made it worse. So we'll do the opposite, since that obviously made it worse. There we go. By pulling it out, we can see that's actually fixing it. So I'm like pulling it out. There we go. Hovering the middle mouse button just to look at the side. Oh, we have it right here. Holding the middle mouse button just to rotate. So we'll just pull this out. Grab here. Pull this out. Got a little bit of weirdness there. Pull this up. Nope, that's the floor there. Let's grab right here, a little bit more space. Push that down. Push this down over here. That view, when it goes like that, that right there is the floor that you see right here popping up. If you were wondering, select both of these and pull this out a little bit. Now I'm going to hover the mouse here. I'm going to press Shift Z. Let's take a look. Zoom in. Let it render a little bit. Now something we can do that's also cool like this, it's kind of like distinct up here but not so much in here. So what we can do is we're going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold Shift in the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hold Alt and select this edge right here. I'm going to hold Shift. I'm just trying to get around that whole area that we extruded. So now what we can do is we can press Control B and pull slightly. Okay, caused some issues, but let's see how it looks over there. Then right here, we did this is a shortcut for a bevel. We can click this up to 2 segments. Click here, change this profile to 1. And this panel that you see that I'm clicking on, because I pressed Control B, this panel popped up. Similar to when you bring an object in, you have your options that tend to, when I tell you to look over to the left, that's what you're looking at right here. So I just turned the segments that they normal when you press Control B, and it normally works by you selecting a group of edges or an edge. Normally it'll be 1 for the segments here. I changed that from 1 to 2, and then the profile will be 0.500. I changed that to 1. The reason why I did that was look at the sharpness of this now by doing that. So if you want to grab an edge and quickly make it sharp, another way of doing it is selecting the edge loops, Control B for the bevel shortcut. This menu will then pop up. And then if you really want it to be sharp, you just take the segments to 2 and this profile to 1. Okay, now what we're going to do, I'm going to hover my mouse over this window. I'm going to press Shift Z. I'm going to go and fix this right here. So I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn this view. I'm going to make sure I'm on edge select. I'm going to select this edge here. I'm going to try to pull out, and it looks like that fixed most of it. Let's zoom in very close. You can see this edge here. Let's see if we pull that up. Well, no, it's not out. Okay, maybe that's not. It's actually not bad. Because it's just the separation. I'm trying to see if it was doing anything weird. I think this is just the normal, separation from the different techniques I did. I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to go to face select. I'm going to select this face and just pull this up. So I'm just to get rid of that space there. And I think that'll be good for now. So let's zoom back here. Holding the middle mouse button just to rotate. Rolling the mouse wheel to zoom back. Holding Shift in the middle mouse button to pan. Okay, I'm going to zoom back in this window. I'll make this window a little bit smaller. That's still good, I think, to have this here so we can see as we're making this, have certain areas be hard. It's nice to be able to work and then see the effect come through. I want this area to look like kind of like an access panel hatch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Alt, which didn't. I guess the loops are not in the correct formula with Alt just to go the way around. Either way, holding Alt and Shift, it's pretty simple. To fix, I want this to be a sharp line right here. So you say, how do we do that? How do we go about doing that? And one of the things we can do is we could either grab all of this and like we would actually, when I say grab it, this would all be filled in by like paint selecting the faces, or we can grab the edge and we can use rip to rip the edge, which will give us a hard line. Let me show you to that now. Before we do this, if I press the V is the rip shortcut, right? If I have my mouse here, then the edge will be ripped towards this direction. So if I pull here, the rip will be like on this side, if that makes sense. If my mouse is over here and I press V, then the rip will be towards this direction. It's probably easier to show you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to press V, right? So it, whoops, what's it doing? I'm going to right click to get out of that. So we ripped it. So now what we're going to do, you still can't see it there because there's no space. So now we're going to do is press S to scale. And now in a second, there you go. You can see nice hard line. Maybe too hard. If you hold shift as you're adjusting, like pulling like I'm doing, shift will allow you to do finer adjustments. There we go. So that's kind of like the line that I want, a nice hard line. And the reason why we have that hard line is because there's an actual split in between these edges. It's giving us that hard line. So just remember that for when you want, different hard lines to pop up. So yeah, I wanted this to be here, that hard line. I think I want it to connect onto here, this to be a hard line. So what we'll do now is we'll select here, and what we'll do is, let me hold the middle mouse button to rotate. I'm actually gonna hold Alt and whoops, wrong, hit A to deselect, hold Alt, there we go, went all the way around. So I have this line selected. I'm going to move my mouse below this line. So when I press W, then left click to lock in, I should be able to, I should have this line is connected to where my mouse was below it. So I'm going to hold shift and I'm just going to push my line down very slightly. And now we don't. Too much. I'm actually going to hold my middle mouse button and turn, well, this way some. Hold the middle mouse button just to turn to get a better look. Then I'm going to push down. There we go. Okay, I'm going to press A to deselect, and one of the things I want to do is kind of have this like a panel that the pilot could push out if he wanted to. So I'm just moving this vertice here to get a more circular shape, if you will, for what I'm planning to grab. So now with that, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and look. Okay. I'm going to hold Alt, select here. Let me go to make sure I'm on edge select, which I wasn't. Holding Alt and Shift now. I'm just grabbing this whole panel area right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover my mouse to the inside. I'm going to press V, then left click to lock in one time. I'm going to press S to scale. I'm going to hold shift and move this out so it's not too much. Left click to lock in. Let's zoom in right here. I'm going to go to, I'm on edge select. I'm going to select this edge right here. Pull this up slightly. hold the middle mouse button just to take a look at what's going on here. Try to hold the middle mouse button to turn. Pull this back a little. Oh, there we go. I couldn't see that. This was pushing through. So this right here, on edge select, may hold Shift Z, press Shift Z to temporarily turn that off. This needs to be pushed up just slightly. Push back some. Got a vertice. Push this up some. I'll take this vertice, push this down some. Just don't want this crossing over. So that's it. I'm going to hover my mouse here, press Shift Z. There we go. Not bad. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hover my mouse over here again, press Shift Z, just so I can work a little bit quicker. Hold the middle mouse button. I'm going to go to Face Select. I'm going to hold Alt. Select this whole loop of faces here, and then I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, and you can see when I did that E to extrude, press Shift Z over here, that gave this a sharper edge, not a totally sharp edge, but this is like flat, and I like how that looks, so I'm going to press Shift Z to go back. Now what I'm going to do is look here. Okay, and I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to make sure I'm on edge select. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to select this edge right here. Now I'm going to hover my mouse wheel here, and I'm just doing this so I have room to pull like this. So I'm going to press Shift E, which applies the, well, it didn't work quite how I wanted to, but I'm going to pull down. You can see it adjusting there. Left click to lock in. I'm still have it selected. I'm going to press Shift E again. Make sure that mean crease is all the way out. Okay, so now when I press Shift Z here, now we have a nice hard edge right there. Okay, what I'm going to do now is press Shift Z to temporarily turn off the rendering. I'm going to hold Shift to the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to zoom in here on the arm. I'm going to press Control R to put a loop cut there. I'm going to left click again to totally lock in. I'm going to press V to rip it. Left click to lock in. And I'm going to pull slightly this direction. I'm now going to hold Alt, select here, make sure my mouse is right here, press, and when I say right here, I mean to the right of this line. I'm going to press V to rip it, left click to lock in. Then I'm going to pull slightly this way. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button to make sure everything looks normal. That thing coming up there again, that's just the floor. So now let's go back here. Let's press Shift Z. And now we can see we have hard, segments going through the arms there. Or hard, lines like they're going through the arms there. For this space in between, like you might say, okay, well, that's cool, it's hard and all, but you can see through it. There's multiple ways of dealing with this. You could put a sphere inside, a square inside, a plane inside. But yeah, so far I'm liking how this is looking. Okay, let's add some more detail to the shoulder. So what we're going to do is with edge select on, we're going to select here. We're going to hold Shift. We're going to select here, here, and here. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button just to turn, to take a look. I'm going to hover the mouse wheel here. I'm going to press V for rip. Left click to lock in. And I'm just going to pull down slightly. And I'm also going to pull to the side slightly. So now we have that hard line going through there just for some extra detail. Okay, and we are almost done. We're going to press A to deselect. We're going to zoom back so we can put some materials on here fairly quickly. We're going to press A to select everything. We press A again. Now we know that nothing is selected. We're going to hover our mouse over various parts of this mesh and just select where we want our base color selected. So we're going to hover here, press L, 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 and L. Okay, now with all of those different sections selected, we're going to hover our mouse here, make this panel a little bit bigger. We're going to go to the materials panel. We're going to select use nodes. We're going to go to the plus to the right. There's two pluses, one here and one here. You want the one on the right. You're going to select plus. You're then going to select new. Now you're going to go to diffuse, click here. You're going to choose mix shader. Okay, when you selected mix shader, these two shaders popped up. You're going to select the top shader. You're going to go to glossy. You're going to go to where it says GGX of that top shader. You're going to click here. You're going to turn this to sharp. You're going to go to the second shader. You're going to turn this also to glossy. We're going to scroll down where it says GGX of the second shader. My brain. We're going to click Beckman, and for this we are going to pick the color that we want the base color to be. So I'm going to pick this reddish color here. You can't see anything yet because I have to click assign. Let me make this a bit more red. So I'm going to click assign, and there you go. Pretty cool, huh? Now we're going to press A to deselect. Okay, and now we're going to do very similar to what we did before. We're going to hover our mouse here. We're going to press L. Hold the middle mouse button and turn to the side. We're going to hover here and press L. Hover here and press L. I'm going to hover here, press L, press L. Hold the middle mouse button and turn. I'm going to press L here. Hold the middle mouse button to turn. And press L here to get these different. I'm just moving my mouse, and as I'm moving my mouse, I'm pressing L. I'm holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan, rolling the middle mouse button to zoom in. Okay, I'm holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan to the side a little. And now I'm going to go to phase select. I'm going to continue to hold. I'm going to hold shift now. So before I was just hovering and pressing L. Now I'm holding shift and I'm selecting the, and that's because I'm only selecting faces. I'm not selecting the whole objects. Where before, where I pressed L, I was able just to grab the whole piece of an object, I guess you could say, because technically we're inside of an object, but anyway. So I wanted to grab that right there. And I want to do the same thing for here, so I'm going to press shift. Hold shift. I'm holding shift. I didn't press shift, sorry. Holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. When I rotate, I let go of the shift button, and I hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Roll the mouse wheel in to zoom in. Roll it in again. Holding shift again to select these areas here. Holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Just holding shift as I click here. Holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Shift allows me to just stay selected on all of the things that I grabbed. If I let go of shift, I will deselect everything else and end up just selecting what I am selecting. So I'm going to roll back, hold the middle mouse button to turn, hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Okay, so now I am going to, okay, I'm in the material panel. I'm going to zoom up. I'm going to go to the right plus, click this to make another new material. I'm going to click new. I'm going to go very similar to what we did before, or do very similar to what we did before. I'm going to select diffuse. I'm going to choose mix shader. I'm going to go to the top shader. I'm going to select glossy. I'm going to come down. I'm going to select sharp, so it's glossy and sharp for the top shader. The second shader is going to be glossy, and then I'll go to where it says GGX. I'm going to select Beckman, and I'm going to click here to an orange color. Yes, take a wild guess where my inspiration came for this armor. And then I'm going to select assign. Okay, I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hold shift and I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn. And what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to press A to deselect. Okay, so what we're going to do now is press Z to go into wireframe mode. The reason why we came in here was I saw some of the little motor things that are to the sides of the fingers that I didn't select them when I was setting the gold like material. So I'm going to hold control, hold the right mouse button, drag a loop select around all of these fingers. Then I'm going to just select assign. And we can see over there they change, so good. Okay, now I'm going to press Z, then go back to solid view. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I actually just let go of the middle mouse button and grabbed it again to pan over again. I'm going to zoom in right here. I'm going to press A to select everything, then A to make sure that everything is totally deselected. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press C for paint select. We're on face select, which is good. And we're just going to grab all of this right here. Good. Oh, one piece here. Okay, I right click to get out of paint select. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to scroll up yet again. We're going to go to the right plus yet again. We're going to click new. We're going to go to diffuse. We're going to select mix shader. For the top shader this time, we're going to select emission. Scroll down a little bit. The second shader, we're going to select transparent BSDF. And then for the color for the emission, we're going to select like a light blue or bright blue. Light blue. I don't know. Light blue. Okay, and now we're just going to select assign. You can see we have like a glowing blue from the emission shader, but yet it's still transparent, which is very cool, I think, anyway. Okay, I'm just going to hover my mouse right here over this triangular looking shape here. I'm going to left click and hold and pull to the right. See that arrow's showing me that that left window is going to be the only window left, which is what I want. Just so we can take a look at this. Okay guys, that's it for the tutorial. For all of those of you out there who like the videos on this channel and reshare them, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And to those of you who are new to this channel, if you like the videos on this channel and you would like to see more, please subscribe, and thank you for viewing.